I was faced with a choice which I never should have had.
She was crying like I had never heard a woman cry before in my life.
And I just cried for weeks and weeks. Everything reminded me of a baby.
And I kept trying to get up from the table and look to see what was in that jar.
I was dealing with the loss of my unborn child and I didn't even know it.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Whisper, be silent no more.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Cindy Collins, and again, I am with my co-host, Alan Parker, President of the Justice Foundation, and Clayton Trotter, General Counsel of the Justice Foundation. It's going to be a great show today, Alan.
It is, Cindy. It's going to be very powerful. You're going to hear today from Linda about how abortion was like a tornado causing a widespread path of destruction in her life. And you're going to hear from our in-studio guest, Stacy Massey, President of Abortion Recovery International.
That's right, Alan. These are both very telling stories of the effect of abortion. And now we want to go ahead and listen to Linda's story in her own words.
You know, today, where I live, they've predicted a 100-degree temperature, but they've only predicted. They can't really say until the day is done what the high temperature is really going to be. It could be 99, could be 101. I'm quite a planner in my life. In fact, I thought I should have been a weatherman, but I really never went to school for doing that. But I love to plan and I love to see what's ahead. And when I was younger, I often had time living in the moment because I was always predicting what was next. Well, back in the early 80s, I predicted that my life was perfect, that the man I was dating was perfect, that everything we were headed towards was perfect. All was falling into place. Well, we were both Christians, and at the time we thought marriage is for sex and sex is for marriage, so we tried not to. Well, we weren't very good at it, and we had sex one time. And believe it or not, just like they say, it only takes one time. When I had missed a couple periods, we decided that we should be responsible, do birth control, so we went to Planned Parenthood. They require a pregnancy test before they give you anything. And so their prediction came about like a tornado on the horizon. They said, well, after the pregnancy test, you're pregnant. And I said, really? We only had sex one time, how could it be? And the lady pretty much only had one answer for me, that it was early on, it wasn't a baby, so just take care of it and you can go on with your plans to get engaged, your plans to get married, your plans for a good life. But it still brewed on the horizon like a tornado, and I didn't understand that. So we got our act together, we felt like we didn't have any time. And you know, that was one of the biggest things that hit me later on in life, is that I had lots of time. But the people at the Planned Parenthood counseling said, you just gotta hurry. You gotta hurry to make a decision. You've gotta hurry, 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 hurry. And so that's part of why it felt like a tornado. I was rushing to get out of the way of this massive thing that was coming towards me. Well, we had to pay cash, so we had to come up with a lot of money, which 2 college students don't have, and we had to talk to my parents. We never told my boyfriend's parents, and they still to this day don't know. But when I talked to my parents, they never said don't. They just helped us. The path of destruction was set on this tornado before I even knew it. You know, the Oklahoma City tornado, I was just 80 miles south of that, and there was a path of destruction that was a mile wide. But the funny thing is, on either side of that path, there were beautiful homes, there were trees still in place, there were cars unmoved, but on the path of destruction, there was a mile wide swath of nothingness. So this experience, which I rushed through, I can tell you one of the first things I ever remembered was I went to the place and it was just methodical, so I was just going through the paces. But I remember when it was over and I was in the recovery room, I remember this woman just crying out and crying out, "I want my baby back." And I thought, why is she saying that? Because I thought it wasn't a baby. Why does she keep crying and crying? So that was the one voice I remember hearing from that horrible experience until later on. I went home that day and my mom didn't say anything and let me go to bed and close the door in a dark room. And I can tell you that that closed the door and put everything from that memory in a dark place. And amazingly enough, I lasted 10 years without even recognizing that that dark place was there. One Sunday, I sang on a band, and I looked out, and some, I would say idiot, but some uncaring person put a sign at the back of the wall saying, "Abortion kills babies." Well, it was as if a light came on that day. It was as if like the effects of the tornado. You know, at the nighttime, if the tornado comes through at night, you really don't know what's happened. But when in the morning you get up and you see an air conditioning unit stuck in a tree, or you know, pieces of cars on the side of the road, then you know there's been effects. And that's what happened. The light came on. But I can tell you that healing came like the sunrise as well. That the predictions were true, that Jesus could heal, that Jesus could love me, that Jesus made a way through a wilderness that I didn't know was even there until His light had shined.
You've just heard Linda's story in her own words of the effect of abortion, similar to that as a tornado in a woman's life. If you've experienced abortion, we want to encourage you to call the National Helpline for Abortion Recovery at 1-866-482-LIFE. There is a woman on the other end of that line that wants to hear from you. I know that comparison, Alan, of a tornado and abortion, it was just so clear to me of the destruction that abortion causes.
It was, and these women are speaking from their heart, from experience, from the reality of what it does to them. I kind of got two pictures in a way. She talked about the woman in the abortion recovery room saying, "I want my baby back." And there's a woman who begins to feel it immediately, which is sometimes common. The other is kind of the ticking time bomb situation where Linda was in. She said she kind of got through it for 10 years until it exploded in her life. And it can happen at any time, but you don't recover in the recovery room at an abortion clinic, do you, Cindy?
No, you do not. And I know with myself, it took many years until I connected the dots of the devastation that abortion took in my life, the great toll, Clayton, that it takes in many women and men's lives.
You know, the analogy to a tornado is just so apropos. I mean, we have heard testimony after testimony after testimony of the devastation, and that's the word, the devastation that abortion causes in a woman's life. And you know, but there is also an analogy to a tornado, and that's cleaning up the aftermath. And you can rebuild your life. You can come in after the tornado and rebuild the house and